Welcome back to the podcast, everyone, episode 282, and today we are diving deep into something that just makes my tech heart sing. NVIDIA's latest and greatest GPUs, especially the RTX 4090, and what's coming next with the RTX 50 series. Jenny, you ready to talk some serious horsepower?
Mark, I am ready. My curiosity is piqued, especially when we talk about pushing the boundaries of gaming and content creation. The RTX 4090 has been quite the buzz, but the whispers about the 50 series are already starting. I want to know, are we still just looking at bigger numbers, or is there something fundamentally different happening here?
Oh, it's bigger numbers, but they're times smarter times bigger numbers, if that makes sense. The RTX 4090, right? It burst onto the scene with NVIDIA's Ada Lovelace architecture, 24 gigs of GDDR6X memory. We're talking about a card that chews through 4K gaming like breakfast cereal. It just demolishes everything you throw at it.
Eating 4K for breakfast? I love that image. And it's not just gaming, right? For creators, this card has been an enabler. I've heard stories about rendering times in Blender or Premiere Pro being slashed from hours to mere minutes. That's a significant impact on workflow and productivity.
Precisely. And it's not just raw power. It's the AI magic, Jenny. DLSS 3, Deep Learning Supersampling, 3rd generation. This is where it gets interesting. It uses AI to generate entirely new frames, which means you can get up to 4 times the performance in some games, even with ray tracing cranked up. It's like the GPU is creating frames that weren't there originally but look almost perfect.
Okay, hold on. AI-generated frames? That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Is it, just masking hardware limitations? Or is it fundamentally changing how games are rendered?
It's both. It's a clever way to overcome the limitations of traditional rendering, particularly as games become more graphically intensive with things like path tracing, which is essentially full ray tracing, and it smooths out performance quite well. Think of it this way. Instead of your GPU having to render every single pixel on its own, AI comes in and predicts what frames should look like, filling in the gaps quickly. It's not just a quick fix, it's a whole new rendering approach.
That's intriguing. I can already hear our listeners thinking, does this mean my current GPU is obsolete? But more importantly, what's the catch? Because with all that power and AI wizardry, there has to be a trade-off, right? And I'm looking at the power consumption numbers here. A 450 WTDP for the 4090 and the RTX 5090 is rumored to be 575 W? Mark, are we hitting a wall where performance gains demand substantial energy?
You've identified a key point, Jenny. That's the significant ethical and practical consideration. The 4090 already demands significant power. You need a robust power supply just to run it, and good cooling to keep it from becoming a miniature heat source. The 5090, with its almost 30% higher power draw, pushes that even further. It truly is innovation with associated costs, isn't it? Kit Guru called the 4090 an efficiency champion, which is notable when you consider it pulls 450 watts. But that speaks to how much performance it delivers for that power. The 5090, though, that's going to be another level of energy demand.
So, is NVIDIA prioritizing raw performance over power efficiency? I mean, at 575 W, will these power demands push more gamers towards cloud streaming? Or make high-end PCs a niche luxury for those with industrial-grade cooling systems?
That's a very real concern. While NVIDIA aims for more performance per watt, the ambition of these cards means higher total power draw. We're seeing the RTX 5090, based on the new GB202 architecture, pack in 33% more CUDA cores than the 4090. We're talking 21,760 cores versus 16,384, and it's jumping from 24 gigabytes of VRAM to 32 gigabytes, with nearly double the memory bandwidth. More cores, more memory, faster memory. The only way to achieve that kind of leap is more power.
Wow! 32 gigabytes VRAM? That sounds like it could make 8K video editing or even complex AI model training mainstream for individual creators. But is a 33% core bump worth a 28% power increase for most users? It feels like the gap between desktop and professional workstation GPUs is narrowing with these specifications.
It is narrowing, and that blurring of lines is interesting for the bleeding-edge enthusiasts, the ones pushing 8K gaming or doing serious professional work. That 33% core bump and the significant increase in memory bandwidth for the 5090 will be worth every watt. We're talking about rendering scenes that used to take hours, now potentially minutes. It's democratizing capabilities that were once reserved for high-end studios, as you said earlier.
Okay, but then we have to talk about the bigger picture. How can the industry offset the carbon footprint of these incredibly powerful, energy-hungry GPUs? Should eco modes become required for high TDP cards, or is that just avoiding the issue?
That's a very important question, Jenny. It's critical. Developers are working on more efficient architectures and power management software. But innovation is pushing performance boundaries. Perhaps we'll see more system-level approaches, like smart power grids at home, or further advancements in cooling technology. The long-term trend definitely has to lean towards greater efficiency, but in the short term, these cards are pushing limits, and that comes with a power cost.
It's a balance, for sure. Looking ahead, with the RTX 50 series bringing Blackwell architecture and potentially DLSS 4, what do you think is the future of AI rendering? Will AI-generated graphics replace traditional rendering pipelines, or are we always going to need that underlying hardware?
I think it's a powerful symbiotic relationship. AI isn't going to replace the fundamental need for powerful hardware, but it's going to enhance what that hardware can do. DLSS 4 could bring multi-frame generation, even better artifact elimination, moving us towards true, real-time, photorealistic rendering. We're talking about a future where games no longer look like games, but like real life, with AI providing the boost necessary for that performance.
Real-time, photorealistic gaming. That truly sounds exciting. It's clear the RTX 4090 pushed boundaries, and the RTX 50 series is ready to advance them again, albeit with a thirst for power. Mark, this has been a fascinating dive into the leading edge of GPU technology. Thank you for breaking it all down.
My pleasure, Jenny. It's always a good time to explore these technological marvels. For everyone listening, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next episode. Until then, keep an eye on how much power your next GPU pulls.
Indeed. See you all next time.